So hi guys, today's topic is debouncing in JavaScript. So have you ever noticed that when you type in search box, it doesn't make an API call on every single keystroke. So just like we have Flipkart and Amazon search box, and whenever we type something there, so it doesn't make an API call on every single keystroke. Or when you resize your browser window, it doesn't recalculate the layout of window hundred of times. So that's debouncing in action. So today we are going to deep dive in debouncing in JavaScript. So this is one of the most important performance optimization technique every front end should know. So by the end of this video, you will understand what is debouncing and why it's crucial, and how to implement your own debounce function from scratch, real world use case with live example. So let's go in action. The simple HTML code which I made, so you can also made. There is many AI platforms, so you can make. This is for understanding. So let me show you the problem we are solving. Let me show you the problem we are solving. So imagine you have such input that make an API calls every time user type something here. So if someone types JavaScript, just like if we type JavaScript, then there is 10 character, and you have to make 10 API calls. And this thing make wasting bandwidth, overlapping your server. So this thing made bad things in performance. So this thing create a poor user experience, increasing cost, wasting bandwidth. So debouncing solve this by waiting until the user stop typing before making API calls. So just like so one API call happen after we write JavaScript, then another API call happen, then we write anything after that. This is solved by debouncing. Instead of 10 calls, you make just one call after they finish typing. So this is debouncing. We will go in practical example with code. So let's let's remove all the backend part, JavaScript, and let's go how we can make a debounce function. So debouncing is a programming technique that limit how often a function can execute. So we have to make a function that execute after some time, some after typing. Our core concept is debouncing. We have to make a function, that function trigger after some time after we finish typing. So we can think debouncing is a programming technique that limit how often a function can execute. The key idea is if you keep triggering the function, the timer reset. The function only execute when you stop triggering, and it for a specific delay. Okay, so we will make that function. Let's remove that thing, this thing also. Let's dive in code. This is your HTML. Now I'm adding a input box here. Input and let's give on key up API data. So here all the data that we get from API. Now I'm making this function in here. So this is your const API data. It console.log. So here is this is our data. Now we have to now see here we are typing something is calling API calls. So you 4 times. So we want to do something with this API data, and that is trigger after some time or millisecond time or after or word finish. So what we can do, we will make a function. We will do something with this function that will take this function as argument and some time delay, and that function give us the, some logic or any kind of things that have functionality to do this debouncing. Now let's say let's function that do something with this API data function. So that function we call name new debounced function. So this that function new function, that function, what the function do, this function take this API data and some time delay, just like we are putting 300 millisecond or 500 millisecond. Okay, so what this function will give, this function do something with API data. Let's make that function const new function. If this function can able to do that ability that API cannot trigger after every keystroke, then this function is called as a debounce function. So we are making debounce function. Okay, function, and so what this function will do, this function return new function. So we are returning a new function. Okay, and we will do some this function taking two arguments. First one is function, or we can tell function and delay. Okay, is this new function is taking two argument and this function and some delay. Okay, and this function returning new function, and that function doing something with this function. So how we can call this function after some delay inside a function. So using set timeout, we know set timeout. So same, this will take callback function and second argument of it delay, so same delay that we are providing here. And how we can call that this function inside this function. Yeah, so function dot apply, and apply will take first argument as this and second arguments, so we will provide after some time. So this is our function made. Wait a second, I am changing this thing also here. Now this apply function is triggering after some delay, and set time out function, this method return a new key ID. So let we can give let new ID and const new ID. We can give like this set timeout, and because we want to also clear that set timeout, that's why we need this one. So how we can clear set timeout, clear timeout. Okay, we need to prevent lexical scope, so we can store this, let store equal to this and arguments as a arc, and we can give here p and okay. So this should work. Wait, and reference arcs is not defined. Okay, we can destructure arcs. So say this should okay, and if we type, and if I type fastly, so it's working fine. We have made this debounce function, so whenever every keystroke will press, then this function will call each and every time, and this will return us this function. We can also give function like this if you want, or you can remove like any, you can choose any method. This is working fine. This function is called as debounce function. So every time we are calling this function return this new function, and this function using set timeout, and that trigger every delay time, and we are also clearing that time. One thing you have to remember that the heart of debouncing is the line clear timeout, the timeout id new id. So every time the debounce function is called, we first clear any existing timer, and this what reset the countdown, and after clearing previous timer we set new one. So what examples where we use this debounce function, just like we have seen this search input with API calls, and second one is just like when we do some button clicking. Sometimes we do lots of click on button click prevention. At the time we use the debounce function. For example, during window resize event fire continuously while the user resize. If you are using expensive calculations like recalculating layout or updating charts, this can cause performance issue. At that time we also use debounce function, and sometimes we also use in scroll event handlers. Scroll events fire extremely frequent, actually hundred of times, means it's fire many times. You are doing expensive operations like loading content or updating analytics. This can kill a complete website or performance of website. So this is thing. I hope I explained you better. Thanks for watching. Bye.